With the release of Captain America Brave New World, today I wanted to put the new hero of America against the face of Vought in America in another universe, that being Homelander. Homelander and Falcon in general are characters that get a lot of flack for not being all that powerful, so I not only wanted to put respect on his name, but explain why neither of them are just building level fodder. And this new Captain America has a far different arsenal than the original one, so I wanted to see if he could pass the superhero scaling benchmark, aka Homelander, and see if he has what it takes to become the #1 hero within the boys universe. It's kind of a cool premise in my opinion because it's taking one of the weaker and underrated heroes of the MCU and seeing how they would fare in another superhero related universe. I know, I'm sorry for yapping. Let's not waste any more time and break down just how powerful the Falcon is. Now, before talking about Brave New World, I'm gonna have to mention Falcon's scaling throughout the movies and in his Disney Plus show. Falcon, before becoming Captain America, was surprisingly very powerful. He was already a trained martial artist who took his skills to a new level in order to become an Avenger, eventually becoming a fighter who can even stand up to superhuman level threats without any superhuman level strength. Initially in his Falcon era, he did not have the best track record. He just kept taking L's left and right and losing every single fight he had, and honestly this is one of the main reasons I find it so strange to scale him, especially in his like phase 1 through 3 era, because the best thing I can say for him is him surviving holding back Spider-Man and Ant-Man, but that doesn't really get him higher than wall level, which he's already displayed those levels on his own. But we get to see him being pretty competent once his Disney Plus show rolls around, aka Falcon and the Winter Soldier. In this show, Falcon is just fighting super soldiers without the super serum, and he's even shown the ability to kind of be a nuisance to Bucky and John Walker. This is before becoming Captain America and getting a whole new suit that allowed him to body these same level of fighters, meaning he's much stronger than what he was originally. To get a specific level or gauge where this would put him at, I believe this should put Sam at building level, as he can not only fight super soldiers, but now has the tools and equipment to take them down pretty easily. To get a gauge where this would put him at, I think Sam should be at building level by the time of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, as super soldiers like Captain America and Age of Ultron have shown the ability to shatter solid chunks of concrete, which has been calculated at building level. Now, before you guys start going in the comments saying how using Captain America is a weird example because he's stronger than most super soldiers, I do agree. This could come off a little shaky, but I think their overall strength is comparable to one another. In terms of skill, Steve is definitely clear of any super soldier in the verse, but in terms of raw power, super soldiers aren't just one-shotting each other, which was shown to us in Endgame. And speaking of, Falcon in that movie actually has a very underrated feat that a lot of you might have missed. Falcon in that movie was capable of taking down a giant Chitauri by stabbing it with his wings, and for reference, Captain America and T'Challa in Infinity War were struggling with Outriders. And Redwing as well, Falcon's drone, can take down these same Outriders, so to say that Falcon with his tech is not in the super soldier tier, I think we're just overlooking his feats at that point. And by the time we get into Brave New World, Falcon has not only taken his training to a new level in order to compensate for not having the serum, but with his new suit, he's hitting harder and taking way stronger attacks. Sam as well also has access to the shield, which can not only deflect repulsor blasts, but even withstand punches from the Winter Soldier, strikes from Mjolnir, and even strikes from Thanos. And now his suit is made up of the same material, meaning it's going to be very difficult for Homelander to put down Falcon. Now, with that general yapping aside, we can now talk about his Brave New World feats, which are actually pretty impressive. In this movie, Falcon fights General Ross, who becomes the Red Hulk, and it's said that without the proper equipment, Hulk could pretty much one-shot Sam, which I think it's pretty obvious to note that. I don't think anybody's arguing that Sam on his own is scaling to Hulk. But now with his new suit, he's not only able to endure and scar the Red Hulk, but he's able to pretty much utilize the same shockwaves that Black Panther had, which they don't realize has put Falcon much higher on the MCU chopping block. He also has blades from his wings that can puncture the Hulk's skin and make him bleed. However, this version of the Hulk might be the weakest Hulk in the entire MCU yet, with him consuming gamma radiation through like perks, and does not nearly have the same amount of gamma consumption as Bruce or even She-Hulk. But I do think Red Hulk is a good tier above the super soldier level fighters, or fighters that Falcon was fighting before he became Captain America, and more than likely scales right below like Black Panther, Cull Obsidian, or those mid to high tiers within Infinity War. Mind you, Mackie could die to the Red Hulk with one solid blow, but it's thanks to his arsenal that he's able to fight as effectively as he did. And as far as where his attack potency actually lies, he should scale above the early phase 1 and 2 Iron Man models, which are capable of withstanding weakened shockwaves from Mjolnir. Even despite them not being at full power, the level of energy Iron Man had to withstand was well more than enough to level city blocks and entire towns. And mind you, this was in phase 1 before any of the vibranium stuff gets introduced, so Sam should be able to damage and endure attacks or beings who can generate these levels of power. I think to say that Falcon in this tier is pretty fair. I don't think anybody's going to be saying that, oh, well, Captain America kicked Thanos' head in like a little bit and he moved his helmet so he's country level. But, I mean, there are a lot of people who scale the MCU like that, so more power to you if you believe that. Anywho, as for his speed, well, in the MCU, everyone just kind of reacts to each other similarly to how it's shown in Star Wars. MCU characters typically hit hypersonic to massively hypersonic speeds, as not only does Iron Man's early models have statements of reaching those speeds, but Sam can even dodge attacks that are able to tag Spider-Man and Wanda, who, mind you, are both shown the ability to react to Thanos. Now, I'm more comfortable saying he's hypersonic considering Avengers like Thor and Captain Marvel are shooting lightning and moving at the speed of light. And if we are really going to sit here and say a dude with robo wings is moving faster than Thor or moving similarly to Thor, then you know what? You guys can go ahead and giggle in the comments and say how Homelander gets so loud. But hey, he has at least reacted to attacks from Vision and isn't getting blitzed in the air by Iron Man. For reference, even parts of Iron Man's armor can cross 832 miles in less than 2 minutes. Based on the distance and time singular pieces of Iron Man's armor had to travel, this would mean Iron Man should roughly be over Mach 46 or high hypersonic. And mind you, the armor he wears in Civil War, who Falcon in speed should scale to, is capable of traveling from the Atlantic to Siberia in minutes, with the mid-end for this feat coming out to around over Mach 151 or massively hypersonic. Brave New World doesn't add anything new to the speed scaling, but we do know he's faster and more agile, so it should solidify his speed being in this tier, if not higher. As far as equipment and hacks goes, Falcon has a surprisingly very good arsenal. Redwing not only is durable, but it has high density lasers, missiles, gunfire, can stun Iron Man, and also has a grapple that took out Spider-Man. Falcon as well, before getting the new suit, has access to wire whips, explosions, and of course he does have his new vibranium wings and shield that are definitely going to be annoying for Homelander due to the specific material it's made out of. Now with this new suit, he does sacrifice a lot of his versatility, but it gets made up for the ridiculous endurance increase, along with his shockwaves and vibranium projectiles that he can shoot out. His drone as well seemingly got an upgrade, with them even being a nuisance to the likes of Red Hulk in the movie. And I'm not gonna lie, Redwing is a free way for Sam to get some decent hits in with his vibranium wing. Now let's look into Homelander scaling and see if he can fold America's brave new hero. You see what I did there? That was pretty good! Homelander within the boys universe is the undisputed strongest. I know some of you nerds are going to argue Soldier Boy, but at best Soldier Boy might have maybe matched him a little bit. But I think it's clear that the show represents that Homelander is the #1 strongest, meaning he could be upscaled from any feat in the series, such as explosions that Black Noir was surviving and Lamplighter burning actual human bodies, which both feats come out to around building level. We know Soldier Boy as well was capable of generating explosions that even Queen Maeve somehow was able to survive, and the explosion's radius at best comes out to around city block level, which I do believe is pretty consistent for Homelander, as a younger Homelander survived a chemical plant explosion, and this was calculated to be roughly in the same tier. The problem with Homelander is that past this feat, he does not really show anything physically impressive within the show. The problem with Homelander is past this one feat in an animated show that a lot of you might have missed, he does not show anything physically impressive. Sure, by the time of season 1, Homelander is stronger than the younger one, but we don't know by how much. The best line of scaling we can give to Homelander is a statement made by Ali from Cobra Kai where no weapon on the planet could kill Homelander. But I don't really want to sit here and say that because of this statement, Homelander is just taking an H-bomb and walking out fine, especially considering the characters he's superior to can still kind of damage him. And even the younger Homelander was visibly shown to be damaged by the explosion. So I think at best, Homelander is probably multi-city block, and there's nothing to suggest that he's higher than this. And you'll find that for speed as well, Homelander is just as vague or unquantifiable. In season 1, he's able to create sonic booms looking for translucent, and we know when he was younger, he broke the sound barrier. But the best speed feat that Homelander has actually is at the end of season 1, where he reacts to an explosion. He's able to not only move himself out of the house as the bomb goes off, but he somehow takes Billy Butcher with him. Based on how little time he had left and somehow flew back to his crib, he should have had to move from Mach 10 to Mach 18, which is barely cracking hypersonic. Now, the issue with this is that an amped A-Train who might be faster than John is barely approaching the sound barrier, let alone breaking it, and we've even seen a super cracked out A-Train having to aim dodge light beams from Starlight. I know a lot of you like to use this A-Train feat to upscale John and say that the boys is light speed, but using Starlight for scaling in general is really vague, as she can channel the potency of the blast along with the speed they're moving at. So we can't just sit here and say all of her attacks are light speed and that Soldier Boy blocking her attack is light speed as well, especially given with what's been been consistently shown within the show. Roughly, he should be hypersonic, but really nothing more than that. As far as abilities go, Homelander's main thing to note is his heat vision, his flight, and his super senses, but aside from that, there's really nothing else he has. He's just kind of a strong dude, but I think his best bet here is to just use his heat vision to chop down Falcon. Now, with both characters' skill sets out of the way, let's compare the two stats. When it comes to speed, Falcon is scaling to other stronger MCU characters that are moving multiple times faster than Homelander's best feat, meaning Falcon should be more than capable of perceiving and reacting to Homelander's blows pretty easily. And it looks worse on Homelander's part considering Sam is a skilled martial artist and has the advantage in close quarters combat. Homelander does have some hand-to-hand knowledge, it seems, but I feel like he just mainly goes in with his powers and that's it. Whereas with Falcon, he's more so relying on his equipment and skills. But in terms of raw power, I think I would give it to John by a good bit. However, due to the vibranium wings and Falcon's suit, I think that Sam is actually strong enough to deal with this gap in strength the same way he was able to with Red Hulk. Steve himself throughout the series has also done this, and Sam is now just him but better at this point thanks to his equipment. Homelander could maybe use his heat vision, but Sam himself has Redwing that can not only shoot lasers faster, but take attacks from Sam and allow him to throw his shield or fly fast enough to knock him out unconscious. Sam at this point has fought superheroes, super soldiers, and has to fight a Hulk in his first movie. Homelander more than likely would get incapacitated before he'd get the chance to punch Sam's head in, especially given the speed gap. And he can't even punch his head in anyway with his new suit because it's just going to cover his face. If I'm being honest, one good shield throw and it might just be lights out for John. And let's say somehow Homelander got a hold of Falcon and is trying to rip the wings off. The new suit would immediately blast him off or anytime he wants to generate ridiculous amounts of energy with the vibranium. Falcon actually has one too many ways to win this one and can pick and choose how he wants to go about this fight. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Go watch Brave New World and I'll see you guys in the next one.